Hi guys, Michael Levine. I think this one's going to probably primarily be for the owners, but if you're a stylist who is thinking about leaving a salon and kind of a disgruntled stylist, this one might be a little bit for you too, and maybe some things to think about. I've had a lot of people over the years leave my company, and there's one thing that I have recognized, that as an owner, very often we feel handcuffed by our employees or by our staff, or if you're an owner of a rental salon, you're going to feel handcuffed by your renters. And it's maybe a slightly different situation if you're running a rental salon, as your relationship might be a bit more black and white. But when you're a salon owner, you tend to get emotionally attached to your team, renter or employee. And in my company, I've had a lot of people that I've felt really, really strongly about, or people that I've made a lot of sacrifices for, or bent the rules for, or done things for people that were above and beyond what maybe I should have done. And I got to tell you, when those people leave, because the more high maintenance an employee is, the more you find yourself bending over a little bit, the more you find yourself bending the rules, maybe not bending over as much, but sometimes we bend over, but the more we find ourselves bending the rules, the more we see that those employees are the ones that are going to leave us anyways. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happens when these people leave. And for us as owners, we feel gutted and devastated, and financially we often are fearful of sort of laying down the rules in a really solid way, because if you're like me in my company, where we don't hire people with a clientele, then employees tend to be really open to everything that we say or we ask of them. But once they start to build a clientele and get a little, I don't want to say cocky, but there tends to be a sense of entitlement, where all of a sudden those rules that they happily agreed to at the beginning of their employment, now all of a sudden those rules seem a little bit unreasonable to them. And it's like, well, hang on, you were totally cool doing that when you weren't making any money, and I had your back and I was supporting you for those 2 years until you started to make decent money. But now all of a sudden, all that stuff that you had agreed to earlier is unreasonable, and now you're not willing to do that kind of stuff. Now, we as owners very often, particularly in a smaller salon, or in a, where we're not so rigid in our business plans, we tend to make exceptions for people, whether we open on a Sunday because that person wants to work Sundays. Understand this, that person's going, when they leave you, now you're screwed, and you either have to staff Sundays or you now have to close it. And all of these little things make you as a business owner seem wishy-washy, and the more wishy-washy you become, the less of a business that you are actually running, the less standards that you have or systems that you have, the more, first of all, it takes its toll on you as an owner, but the more outwardly it makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. So I want to talk to you about sticking to your guns. And that doesn't mean sticking to your guns and being rigid in things that don't make sense. Be open to dialogue, but hopefully when you opened your business, you gave it a lot of thought when you created your business plan, or when you created your staff manual, your systems of what a client would experience, and your non-negotiables with your team. Hopefully you thought this stuff really, really well through and made things fair and reasonable at the time. And then I want you to really, really make sure that you stick with this stuff, because when you change rules for somebody, that means other people are going to have resentment whether they tell you or not, and it makes you look bad. That person that you're changing the rules for, they're going to keep trying to take more and more and more, and then they're going to leave anyways, and you're going to go, oh my God, I did so much for this person. When they needed this, I gave them this, and I gave them those early advances, and all that stuff that you did for them because they asked, because you thought you were being a nice guy. You've got to consider yourself like a parent, and you're an overly lenient parent, and overly lenient parents raise shitty kids. A stricter parent who explains rules and explains guidelines doesn't have the same kind of drama. So I want you to be a strict parent and understand that when that person leaves, they're going to leave whether you bend rules for them or not. It just means that they might leave sooner. But when they leave, here's the thing that's really, really important for you to understand. Even though your staff was friends with that person, most of your staff is going to thank you for it. Because shit disturbers that you think are are deep in friendships with your team, your team's friendships are very different than their work relationships. I've had people leave my company that I was terrified. I thought, oh my God, they're going to take 3 people with them because they're so tight with these people. Those people come up to me afterwards and thank me. And they say, you have no idea how much better it is without this person. Yes, I'm still friends with them, but this person was a shit employee. And just because I like to hang out with them on the weekend outside of work doesn't mean I want their poison in my workplace, because I'm actually quite happy at work. And this is so empowering for you to know this, that your team will thank you when these people leave. So don't hesitate to get rid of them. There's the old adage, hire slowly, fire quickly. Fire these people. And here's the other thing that's a really important thing for you to understand. You probably weren't making very much money from them anyways. That $10,000 a month hairdresser that you've just lost, first of all, some of the clients are going to stay with you because they liked your salon. If you get rid of that person, or that person leaves, some of the clients are going to stay. They're not all going to follow this person. But so that in itself isn't a big deal. But what you're also going to discover from a profit margin, yes, your cash flow is going to go down. No question. But you're not paying out as much in payroll. When we lose that $10,000 a month hairdresser, now, so that's $5,000 a month that went into their pocket. And really, in our pocket, you might have made $500. Maybe. That was your margin on it. Is $500 a month worth it for you to get rid of a total pain in the ass? Totally. $5,000 a month, or $500 a month to get rid of somebody that causes you anxiety and sleepless nights, and doesn't bring much to the table, and they're destructive, and they're a negative influence. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but they're no longer a good employee. And once an employee goes bad, you never get them back. And I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I feel like it doesn't mean that person's going to be a bad employee for their next employer or the next place they go. But once lines of disrespect have been crossed, you can't ever get them back. And we as owners try to bribe and do things. It's like if you've been unhappy with a situation and the person gives you a raise in order to make you stay, that maybe bought you another year, but you still felt all that negativity about that job. And it's the same thing. You can't turn around an employee that's gone bad. You can't do it. You got to just get rid of them, say goodbye, cut your losses. And what you're going to discover at the end of the month, you weren't really any worse off. Your team is happier, and your workplace is a much, much better environment. So get rid of those pain in the ass people tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Salons are closed Sunday, Monday. Get rid of those people. If you're on the fence with them, just get rid of them. You deserve better. You deserve to get more sleep. You deserve to go into your weekends not worrying about who's causing drama in your business, and keep your house clean. Get rid of those drama people right away. You won't miss a beat, I promise. I hope you enjoyed this one.